Hello, everyone. We are back. It is season 2, episode 1 of the Virtual GM podcast, and we are so excited to be back with you. We've got a new format. We've got a new co-host, and this is a fun episode where we catch you up on everything that you've missed over the last little bit. I can't wait to get started on season 2. Be sure to like and subscribe. Stay till the end because we have 3 amazing travel tips that you're going to want to hear. Welcome back to season 2, episode 1 of the Virtual GM podcast. Today is super exciting because we have a brand new co-host. It took us long enough to actually get a virtual GM on the podcast, but today is the day, and I have my business partner and my beautiful wife, who also happens to be a virtual GM, Meagan, with me.
Hi.
Are you excited to be here?
I am.
This is so fun.
Yes.
Here we are, season 2.
Yeah, new journey.
I mean, the idea was always to get you on the podcast, you and the rest of the virtual GMs, but here we are. Better late than never.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in true virtual GM fashion, we will get started with the segue, then we'll kind of catch all of our listeners up. Do you want to go first?
Okay, sure. So personal, I'm going to go with Grow with Video. We attended that
hold
conference.
on. Shout out Sean Cannell.
Yep.
You got to say it.
Shout out to Sean Cannell.
Yeah, buddy.
It was really cool. We went there a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've never been to one, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, what did you think? Like going into it, what were your expectations?
I didn't really have any.
Yeah.
I didn't really know, what to expect.
And?
It was awesome. I loved it. I learned a lot.
Favorite takeaway?
Ooh, favorite takeaway. Just start.
There it is. Mine is also for both business and professionals, Growth Video. Obviously, listeners of the podcast know Spencer and I are huge fans of Sean Cannell and Growth Video. This podcast wouldn't exist without Growth Video. And then really, in some ways, that Growth Video probably got us back in the chair again.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely open the door to you to see like what's possible on YouTube. I mean, how much was your mind blown? Seeing like Pat Flynn stuff.
Yeah, he blew me away.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who could have known you'd love Pokemon content so much?
Yeah, I'm going to go watch his videos.
For anyone listening, even if you are not a Pokemon fan, his videos are just amazing.
They are.
And to see what he was able to do, I mean, he's got videos, he's making $56,000, and that's just his AdSense money off of one of his videos. And he wrote a book called Superfan, and then wanted to show if you took his practices, how they would work. And then so he got into an industry he knew nothing about, which was Pokemon.
Yeah.
Learned everything about it, and then is now like one of the faces of it and has this unbelievable channel that not only is creating incredible income, but it's creating incredible experiences for people.
Oh, totally. I was laughing, crying, watching his videos.
Yeah, no, it was so good. So I think, being back there, it had been 2 years. They didn't do one in 2023. And so to go back and to just get revigorized and to remind us like the power of this platform and what it can do.
Totally.
So I'm just super excited for that. Super excited to have you here. We have so many updates. We finished our last recording at the end of last year. I think it was actually like December 31st was our last episode with Risha from Lynx. And we've had so many changes. Obviously, the listeners know we started a new company called Vibrant Marketing. And so that created a bunch of different shifts, and that really pulled Spencer away as he was building that company from the opportunity to be in this seat. And we really didn't know if we were going to keep going with Virtual GM or not. And then also we went through a buyout with Breck. And so Meagan and I are now the sole owners of Vibrant Management, which is really exciting. But there was just so much unknown as we went into the year, what the year was going to look like.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of changes.
And you took on a much bigger role with the company, obviously helping with finances now. And really even though you were always an owner with me, right? We always shared our ownership, but it's certainly different now because it's just you and me.
Yeah. All on us.
Yes. So we took a big risk, obviously, to be able to have that acquisition and make the company ours. And there was even moments when it was like, we didn't know if it was even like, could we even work it out to be able to move forward? And now as we're sitting here today, it's May 10th. Mm-hmm. And so it's amazing to see what's happened in those 5 months, really.
Yeah. We've been grinding.
It's been a grind.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why there was that gap in recording we really just didn't know how we could work it into our schedule. But I think what I found, like Risha's episode, so Risha's was our last episode that we recorded with Lynx, and it right now has 473 downloads.
Wow.
I mean, that is remarkable, you know, to have that many. And that's a download means you purposely said on your phone, like, I want to record this. I want to keep this content, not just listen to it. So when you get to that level of listenership and interest, it's like, we got to come back and do it.
Yeah, 100%.
So what things do you want to share with the audience as a virtual GM in this transition as a business owner? Like, what are some of your takeaways from the beginning of the year?
Oh, from the beginning of the year. It's a great question.
Right in that transition?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, you got to have something.
Oh, takeaways for business owners?
Yeah. I mean, like, because you're in it in a different capacity than you've been in it before.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like investing in the virtual GM is huge, right? Like what we're able to do for these properties and, you know, take off that responsibility for the owners, I feel like is a really nice service. And
Absolutely.
being a business owner, like being able to hire somebody to do something that maybe you can do, but if you can hire somebody that can do a great job.
What's funny is in a lot of instances, Blake and Mallory at Blue Form are like our virtual GM, right? They make this possible.
Totally.
Like we just get to show up and they've got these beautiful new microphones, so we sound so brilliant, and they've got the cameras ready and our backdrop ready to go. And if we had to do this at home, we wouldn't do it.
No,
there's just no way.
No way.
You know, so I think that's a great insight, and really going back to being willing to invest, even like going to Grow with Video and investing and taking those days out of the business, investing in the cost of going there. It's like I think we left, or at least I did for sure, with new energy to come back and get this thing going again. Yeah,
I feel the same way, even though I didn't do it before. But I'm excited.
Yeah, well, and you know the benefit for the business, right? Because you've seen how many people have come on board.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for 3 years, you know, for multiple properties. So
yeah, I mean, I can't wait. After this episode is over, episode 2, we're actually going to do life as a virtual GM, which I can't wait to get into that in more detail, because obviously that's the name of the podcast and it's been very hospitality driven, but we've not gotten into the nitty gritty of like really being a virtual GM, because Spencer and I we've not done that, you know, so we're not really qualified to speak on it. But I think that's going to be an awesome episode. So if you're listening, stay tuned for that, because you're going to love it. And then also make sure you listen to the end, because we're going to give you our 3 travel tips as tourists. Megan and I are avid travelers. We love to travel. We love to go to new places. And so we'll give you our 3 tips for the things that we like to pursue, or the things that we use to our advantage for traveling. So let's get into some of your new roles at Vibrant, some of the things that you're doing.
Okay. So on top of being a VGM, I now do finances as well.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
It's great. It's different because being a VGM, right, I do have a lot of flexibility. And so now having this thing I have to complete every week, a few times a week, you know, it forces me to be in the office, where before I could really just choose, you know, as long as I got my work done.
Yeah.
So, but it's been great. I mean, it's nice to help you, right? Help our clients.
I certainly appreciate it.
And we don't have to hire somebody to do it. So it saves us money as business owners.
Yep, saves us a position, right? We used to pay someone to do that role. And that's part of what we have done in this new transition and this new phase of Vibrant 2.0, really, is being more strategic, because it is just you and I now, right? And we've got that. We risked so much to be able to make it work. And so we're forced to be strategic in that way. And so I think we've made some really awesome business moves. And I think as an owner, even though we've been owners for 7 years, in the new capacity that we're in, you've just got to make those sacrifices.
Oh, 100%.
I'm
happy to make them. Right.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think for you, it's exciting to be into the finances of like Vibrant itself, because it allows you to see the inner workings of the company in a different capacity
100%
than you ever did before.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I saw a clip on TikTok last night about some employee saying like, I don't give a shit about corporate profits. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. And you had kind of brought up on one of our calls, because we do EOS, as everyone knows. And part of EOS is you set like a profit goal, or you set a revenue target, and then a profit goal, and then like a measurable for each quarter. And those goals are financially driven metrics, right? And you had asked me like, is that something we really should be sharing? And I thought like, yeah, I think it's great. And then I watched that clip of the employee and it's like, oh, that's interesting because, yeah, they don't care, you know?
Well, because for you, you're a business owner. So for you, it's like you want to know these things. Like, are we hitting these numbers? Are we not hitting these numbers? But I feel like for an employee, also, if you're saying you're making like however much in profit, for them, they're like, oh, well, why am I not getting paid more? You know, I just feel like it kind of, I don't like it.
It's interesting because there's such a different mindset between employees and owners, because it's not like if I said, it's not like when I showed them that we lost money in a quarter, they're like, oh,
right.
Let me give you back some of my pay.
Course.
And nor should they, right? And that's the advantage of an employee is you get consistency. Like you don't have to worry about the risk. And the advantage of being an owner is you get the opportunity for gain, but you take the risk of failure.
Right.
So I guess for me, the reason I never really thought of it is I just understand that dynamic of the relationship that we've decided to embark on, you know? But you are right to say that I think most employees, and I wouldn't say this about our team because I think our team's built a little different, but I do think that generally speaking, I could see how an employee with that mindset would go into it and think like, oh, well, if you're making all that money, then I should get paid more.
Right. Yeah. I just think you can leave it out, you know?
So you're against that EOS part.
Maybe in like a bigger company setting, I could see, right, with like your top executives, but where our team is like 6 people, right, and we all have personal relationships with all of them, I think leave it out.
Food for thought. We're gonna have to ask Craig Andrews what he thinks.
Yeah.
Go back to that EOS playbook, you know, see what it says.
Yeah.
But I think there is, you know, certainly something to that. And for those of you listening, if you've just joined, I highly recommend checking out EOS. I don't think that we could have ever gotten to the place that we were without EOS. I don't know they would have had the confidence for us to make that investment in ourselves without it either, you know? And I think it's such a powerful thing to see what happens when you do bet on yourself, because that's what we did.
Yeah.
And that was very scary.
Yeah. You were scared.
Oh, terrified.
Yeah.
What's funny too is that
I pushed you.
Yes, you did.
I
That's
did.
100% true. I said to Megan, like, right when we did it, like, this is the biggest risk we've ever taken. And then do you remember what you said to me?
If I were going to bet on anybody, I'd bet on us.
You may have said that, but the thing that stuck out to me is you said, no, it's not. Because you reminded me that we moved to Houston
Oh, true.
with a 6-month-old daughter.
Yeah.
With
no income.
No income, no guarantee of
No
anything.
guarantee, yeah.
Just a 6-month contract. Right. And so then it was like, oh, yeah, you know, and really we've had the most success in our lives when we bet on ourselves.
Yeah. You have to take those risks, right?
Yeah.
That's where you stand to gain the most.
Well, and I think what'll be good for listeners too, because obviously they don't know our dynamic, but so Megan and I have been together for 17 years. And so we've owned a bunch of different businesses together, and we've always worked like in that capacity together in so many ways outside of when we were really young and we had our own jobs. But since Houston.
Mm-hmm. Well, even before that, I had my own company.
Yeah, that's right.
And you had the cell phone guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess really the whole time.
Yeah.
So this isn't something new for us, but yet it's still scary. Like if you think about it, even when we did this acquisition, so I'd had the cell phone guy, you had
Pilot car business.
yep, the pilot car business. Then we had Lock It Up Investments. Then we had the marketing company. And then this is our 5th one.
Yeah.
You know, but it was still terrifying.
Well, you have a lot to lose, right? If it doesn't succeed.
Yeah, lose our house.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's scary,
That's
right?
the reality of it, you know, because when we were even talking about it, it was like, gosh, how can we even make this work? And, you know, because obviously we had to have a buyout with Breck, and we're really fortunate that we have a great relationship, and it was as amicable as it could be, which I know is not the case for many businesses that go through something like that. So we're so lucky, but it didn't change the fact that there was a big number that we had to come up with. And there was like, I'll never forget, I never had gone to any of my son's golf practices. And for whatever reason, this one day you were like, why don't you just come watch it with us? And so we did. And my son's friend, Eldrick, is like one of the top amateur golfers in the world.
Right.
Like, he was ranked like 5th in the world or something for his age.
So good.
Unbelievable. I mean, he would beat me in golf. He's 7 years old. And his dad is there a lot, obviously, because they're working on this incredible skill that Eldrick has. And his dad is a banker with Zions Bank. And so I just started asking him questions. And he ended up helping us out and getting us a HELOC. And it's really the only way that it would have even been feasible to make this work. I mean, there's not another way that we could have.
Well, you try it a different way.
Yeah. There was no other way to do it. And it's funny too, because even getting our house, which was such a huge leap of faith again.
Oh, very.
Yes. We went from living in a 873 square foot house to the house we live in today. And I mean, the difference in our mortgage was like what, 3 or 4 times the cost.
It was a lot.
So that was a terrifying thing that I didn't really want to do. But had we not done that, had we not taken that leap of faith, we wouldn't have had the opportunity with the equity in our home to be able to do it. And so I think, especially like with the Winning the Moment podcast, when I've brought people on, all the people who are reaching these levels of success have all been betting on themselves.
Yeah.
And taking those risks. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, oh, I want to get into hospitality, I want to dip my toes in, I want to do an Airbnb, or I want to get a little motel and redo it. I think if you're passionate about it, just take the investment, take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been amazing because we get to see new properties come on board. And it's like, I think about like the bungalows. They've been open now is like 2.5 years.
I think they're coming on their 2-year mark.
Okay. So, and it's like, they are so successful.
Yes.
And so it's just amazing to see, those owners, Travis and Amy, they've got a big entrepreneurial background too, but this was new for them, hospitality. And I mean, they are just absolutely killing it. And it's so cool to see they took this risk,
a huge risk,
and this leap of faith. Mm-hmm. They went into an industry they've never been in. And they are just absolutely on fire.
They have us too. So
yes, certainly it's, they've got Vibrant behind them, which makes the engine go.
Yes. No, they're doing great. It's really cool to see.
Anytime that you get to see those entrepreneurs take that risk and see that success. And I think that's part of what makes us at Vibrant good is I feel just as responsible for the success, I think, as they do, right? Like I want it for them.
You're invested
so badly, and ultimately the way that we've built our partnerships with our clients is that we only really win if they win. Right. Because we've got like a flat rate for some things, but most of it is a % of revenue. And so it's like they have to succeed for us to succeed. And ultimately, if they're not having success, they're not going to keep working with us. Like if they can't, and we have to really resell ourselves like always, right? We have to continually redisplay our value. So I think that's what allows us to have those long-term relationships, because most of our clients have been with us for long periods of time, unless there's something like Powder Mountain is shifting their strategy. So they've got these awesome properties up on the slopes, but now they're going to be selling. They've got all these lots ready to go. So now they're going to be using their overnight rentals as like the models to sell the new lots. And so they won't really have any overnight rentals for the next couple of years. So we won't be working with them for that period of time. But even then it's exciting to see like, okay, they're at their next phase,
Yeah. Root them on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think what's so cool is that when we got to the point that it was like, okay, there's no opportunity for us to work together. It was like a peaceful, amicable, like, oh, this is awesome. Like, glad we could help. And I wish you guys the best of luck with the new process. You know?
I feel like we're not going to push something that isn't in their best interest, right?
No.
Even if it meant like we're losing money, that's fine. Like we just want everybody to succeed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or any time that, because there are times that we fail or we don't do as good as we should have done. And I'm always willing to take that ownership. And I think our whole team is, if something like that happens, and make it right with the client. Like we've got this amazing property in upstate New York, and we didn't execute their ads as well as we should have. And so we said, look, we'll take another 30 days. We'll get it right. Don't worry about it, because at the end of the day, I want them to succeed. And I know that little 30-day period of showing them like, look, we're going to own our opportunities is going to allow us to have a much longer future.
Well, how amazing is that, right? You like take accountability and responsibility for it. And you do things that most businesses probably wouldn't do. And I think that sets us apart.
I think sometimes it's okay to do things that don't make business sense.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a good person thing.
Yeah. I think if you're a good person, then you're going to have good. It's really just the universe. It's just karma.
Yeah.
If you do good things, then good things are going to come back to you. Right. Mm-hmm. So getting more into, because we're going to give our travel tips, right? So we're going to do our 3 travel tips here. So let's talk about because no one's got it. We haven't done this with you yet, but where is your favorite hotel you've ever gone to and why?
Ooh, favorite hotel and why? I might have to say the Hilton in Cancun.
Really?
I don't know.
The all-inclusive one?
Yeah, I loved it.
It was awesome.
I mean, it just had everything for everybody, right? And it was fun.
That's
and
true.
the staff was amazing, which I feel like that makes such a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Staff changes your experience.
Oh, yeah. And they were so great.
They were so great. Yeah, what they did that was so cool. So this is an all-inclusive Hilton property. It's probably 3 years old now. We went right when it opened, which was awesome. Anytime you can do that, it's a really cool experience. And they had that awesome splash pad, really cool pool. And they built this incredible like amphitheater outside.
Yes.
And they would do shows every day.
Right. And they'd come get everybody
Right.
from the pool.
Yes. And then they had like popcorn stands up there and creamsicles.
Homemade
and
popsicles.
all this amazing stuff. And the shows were so good.
They were so good.
So entertaining. And then it like got you out of the sun for that break in the day, let you go do something fun. And then all their nighttime activities were awesome.
So amazing.
Like that was where I did my first silent disco.
Yes.
Which sounds not fun.
So fun.
Shockingly fun.
Yeah. That was one of the best silent discos I've been.
Oh yeah.
They had like the glow in the dark paint. Like they just it was really a family friendly hotel. And the rooms were great. I liked the layout of the hotel. I mean, it's really hard to choose, honestly. I really like
and they had
everywhere
that
we go.
awesome like bar area where they had the TVs, and we were there in March. Had March Madness going. They did the live music,
right?
And then like they had the coffee bar there that had like the pizzas and things like that. Like,
great food.
Yeah, which is so important at an all inclusive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Will you explain what a silent disco is?
Oh my gosh.
I'm in here and I'm going, I don't understand.
If you don't know, you're missing out. So you get headphones and they usually have 1 or 2 or 3 DJs and you get to decide what music you want to listen to. So everybody just has headphones on.
Okay.
You're just jamming out. You're dancing. It's silent. Like
yeah,
if
it's the
somebody were to
funniest
look
thing is
in-
if you take your headphones off,
Everyone
it's
looks
just all these
ridiculous.
people like just going, you know.
But it like really allows you just to get in your own space. Like you're not worried about anybody else. You get to decide what music, because the music is very different depending on what DJ you pick.
And then it's funny because you link up with someone who you can tell they're moving to
you
your thing.
you
and
know
you're
they're
like,
listening to the same music. It is so fun. Truly.
Mallory.
That's amazing.
Megan
Okay.
first told me, because you did it at like what, Country Fan Fest or something?
Country Fan Fest.
And you
I was
told me
like,
about it,
"It's
and
the
I was
best
like,
thing ever.
that sounds so stupid.
But it makes so much sense because it's like in a hotel where you don't want to disturb anybody or
Yeah.
outside. Like,
Yeah, because we're in a conference room.
we were in a conference room.
Yeah. But it was awesome.
It was the best time, and the kids have so much fun. Like, oh, it's incredible.
Man,
That actually sounds pretty
We
cool
should
now.
start a silent disco.
a new business idea.
I think we're doing enough.
Okay, yeah. Next year.
I did not. That would have not been the one I thought you would choose.
Which one would you have chose?
I don't know. I was in my mind. I was thinking Petrogol might make it. I was thinking
it is amazing.
Del Coronado might make
also
it.
really boring. Petrogol. It is. It's boring. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, if you're listening, this is the Waldorf Astoria in Los Cabos, Petrogol. I mean, oftentimes it's ranked in the top 5, top 10 hotels of the world, and the staff was unbelievable.
Yes, they're
Amenities
there for,
unbelievable.
yeah, every need.
Everything that you do and experience is truly world class. It's just quiet.
It's so quiet. Like when you go to the pool, you want a little bit of music, not loud music, but a little bit of music or a little bit of life. And I'm grateful that we were able to stay there. But it's boring.
Yeah, it was a little bit boring,
It's so boring. Like we went into town, we left the hotel
which we never
to go
really
find
do.
fun because
Yeah,
it was like you just couldn't make any noise, it felt like.
yeah, it was a little bit uppity.
Yeah.
I thought the Coronado might make it.
It's just been so long since we've stayed there. And it was a cool property, very cool. Our room was very old.
Because it is
smelly. Yeah.
old. It is old.
So,
but they put, it'd be cool to go back because they put like $300 million into it in renovations. Because remember, they were starting those renovations when we
Right.
were there.
Yeah. But very cool. Yeah. I just am thinking of recent places we've been in the last few years.
I also thought maybe like the Biltmore in Vegas, Scottsdale, or even the Waldorf in Park City might make the cut.
Yeah. I just
You're a
love
beach
Mexico.
girl. Yeah, with the sun and the beach.
Yeah. I mean, all great hotels, all really great, but
Well, let's
Yeah.
get into our 3 tips then.
okay.
Okay, so these are the 3 most important tips if you are looking to travel to get the most out of it. I can give number 1, or you can give number 1.
I'll give number 1.
Okay, you go.
Plan ahead,
There it is.
right? I mean, we're always on our vacation. We get home, we book our next vacation for next year.
Yeah.
Like a really big vacation.
Yeah.
At least the hotel part.
Yeah, right. Because flights, you got to wait for like 6 months or whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, so that one's kind of a guessing game. But
And I think not only does planning ahead give you the opportunity sometimes to save, sometimes it's more expensive by planning ahead,
right.
but it puts it on the calendar.
Yeah.
It commits you to the process. Like
And you have
you're
something
going.
to look forward to.
Yeah, right. Which makes life easier.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 is plan ahead. Number 2 is find the best credit card for you. Right, depending on where you like to stay, how you like to travel. Meagan and I are obviously Hilton people, and so we've got the American Express Aspire card. American Express, if you want to sponsor the podcast, holla at me, come get me. We got you. It does have an annual fee of $500 a year, but you get $400 in Hilton credits a year. So that already takes care of 4 of your 500. You get automatic diamond status, which comes with many perks. That's going to get you an upgrade almost all the time. So like we just went to Vegas and stayed at the Crockfords and got an upgrade to a beautiful 1-bedroom suite that we didn't have to pay for because of that diamond status. At the higher end hotels, anything like 4 stars above, you get a food and beverage credit, or I guess even lower ones too. And so depending on the property, you're getting $15 to $30 a person per day. So that's significant. It's like when we went to Crockford's and stayed there for 3 nights, that was $180 in food and beverage credits that we got. So the card pays for itself. And then you get 1 free weekend night every year. And then based on your spending, you can earn extra free nights. And so we just booked a 4th of July trip to go to the beach waterfront. It's a Hilton property in Huntington Beach. Amazing water slides literally across the street from the beach. And it would have been $4,000 for us to book that for a family, which we would have not done.
No.
Never.
Never.
And we got it all for free just by using our free nights that we earned from the card. So I think find the card that offers the perks for the things that you like to do and use that card to its advantage. Take advantage of all their offers, and you get so much more out of your travel by doing that. Okay, tip number 3.
Tip number 3, research, right? Learn what to expect. Like do your research, read reviews, see where it's around.
Well, and I think even for you, part of research is like you always make sure that like you did your due diligence. So when we do go to Mexico, you've got our transportation worked out. We're not getting there trying to figure it out.
Yeah, all that's planned.
This is when we're getting picked up. This is when we're going back. All of the things are ready. Like,
Yeah.
you know all the stuff that you need to do to make that process as seamless as possible.
Right. Like where the hotel is, what are excursions that we could be doing or not be doing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's why I love TripAdvisor, and that's why we're such advocates of TripAdvisor at Vibrant, and we really try and put an emphasis on that because that's such a great place to go to see what's going on at the property, to see what's going on. I mean, anytime that we're going to a new property, I always check. I always check TripAdvisor because it's really going to give you real insight to what to expect.
Right. And when they talk about the staff, I really love that. I'm like, oh, okay, this staff's going to be really fun. This is going to be great.
Yes. And then checking the restaurants and the dress codes, right? So you can.
Oh, yes.
Because some restaurants, you have to have certain dress codes at certain properties. So
Well,
then
some
you know what
people
to
might
plan
not
for.
be checking that, and they might show up and not have the proper attire to eat at a restaurant there.
As
And
odd
that's for like the all-inclusive, of course.
as
right?
odd as
So-
it sounds, weather.
Yes.
I've traveled many times without a jacket.
Yeah. You're terrible at checking weather.
I do not. I just assume it's the same as where I am.
Yeah. Bad assumption.
Okay, so the 3 tips to get the most out of your travel: plan ahead, find a credit card that has the benefits that you're looking for, and research.
Yeah.
Of course, yours are planning and research.
Of course. It's what I do.
Okay, well, that is a wrap for season 2, episode 1 of the Virtual GM podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us, letting us get you caught up on everything Vibrant. Be sure to come back for episode 2 because we're going to talk about a day in the life of a virtual GM. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe and enjoy the episode.